Each year in the United States, thousands of major crimes go unsolved. When the case has gone cold and police have nowhere to turn, they seek assistance from the public. This is a program dedicated to solving these cases. This is Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Welcome to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. I'm Dick Masten, the director of Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers. The purpose of this program is to share unsolved cases with as many South Florida viewers as possible, empowering you to do something about the violence on our streets. Every case we feature is unsolved. Every case we feature has a cash reward available. In other words, every case we feature is an opportunity for you to help your community and at the same time earn Crime Stoppers cash without even giving your name. Now let's get started. Early on the morning of May 14th, 2011, Macario Ordonez and a friend were walking home from a club when they were approached in an attempted robbery. Here's the story.
La dirección, 29 calle y 11. Sí, por favor, usted me pague la policía, lo que usted me cogió, ¿cuál es el problema? ¿Qué ha pasado? Me salieron ¿ha herido? Sí. Lo mataron, señora. Claro. ¿Había alguna arma involucrada, señora? No, usted me pasó, lo dispararon y ya. ¿Lo dispararon? Ok, yo lo voy a enviar al hospital. Usted tiene manera no viste ningún carro ni nada. No,
On May 14th, 2011, at approximately 4:50, 4:55 in the morning, in the area of Northwest 8th Avenue and 29th Street. I know this is a predominantly Spanish neighborhood. I have two victims that were hanging out at a local bar named La Rosa. And after several hours there, they decided it was time to go home. My victim, Macario Ordonez, was walking with his friend. They were going home. They were walking westbound on 29th Street, approaching 8th Avenue. And once they made it a block away, they were encountered by four black males. Three of the males walked towards the victims and walked past them, getting on their other side. The last male, the offender, approached the victims and with a gun in his hand told them, money. One of the victims told him, no money, and he ran. The other victim remained. When they had nothing to give to the offender, the victim was shot several times, very close range. According to a witness, some of the males ran in one direction and one male ran towards a dark-colored minivan and left the area, and the other males fled northbound from the scene. Police and rescue immediately responded to the area. The victim was transported to Ryder Trauma, where, like always, they do their best to try to help everybody, but the injury was just so severe that there was nothing he could have done. The main offender in this situation, he's described as a black male, about 5'6", 5'7", heavy set, wearing dark clothing. The three black males were seen running northbound from the area. They're just described as younger black males, but in their 20s, wearing dark clothing and thin. So right now, we're just trying to figure out who these guys are. You know, they obviously tried to rob the victims, and when they couldn't get what they were looking for, they shot and killed one. Our victim's family is all in Honduras, and they're heartbroken to hear about their family member. We're just looking for anybody who might have seen what happened or heard about what's going on.
The suspects in this case were three thin black males in their 20s and one 5'7" tall heavyset wearing dark clothing. They may have been driving a dark-colored minivan. Coming up, you'll learn about the May 4th, 2011 murder of Donald Jones, killed on Northwest 8th Avenue, when we return with Crime Stoppers Case Files.
In 1975, the first Crime Stoppers organization was formed by a detective who believed media attention helped solve cases. Since then, Thousands of Crime Stoppers organizations have been formed around the globe with the same mission, encouraging members of the public to stand up against crime. Every 14 minutes, Crime Stoppers help solve a crime somewhere in the world. Get involved.
At 8 o'clock in the evening on May the 4th, 2011, Donald Jones was hanging out with a friend at an apartment building in the 6900 block of Northwest 8th Avenue. They were approached by a man with a gun. Here's the story.
Well, as growing up, we always was together, 7 of us. And we were always together, running around, playing.
We was close. He would tell me, like always, that when I did things like wrong, he'll tell me, like, you shouldn't do that or whatever.
We got along good. Even if I fussed at him, he still laughed. His favorite words was just chill. So you fuss at him, say, just chill, man. You know, he never get mad back with you, or he was just a lively person.
I spent the last 9 years with him. I'm his stepfather, and he's a good son. These days, young kids is a little bit unruly, hard-headed, but he was a good guy.
Donald was a fun person, always liked to laugh, play jokes on you. Even if you mad, he still play jokes, make you smile.
One day he had came to the house and like he was starving. And he said, Nikki, fix me something to eat. And he got on the computer. I said, no, man, you do it yourself. So he asked me again and I said no. So he said, all right. And he went in the pot and he ate all the food just because I wouldn't fix him nothing.
You could never catch him mad, and he was always happy with a smile on his face.
Donald was a nice guy, as I say before, but I think he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Hi, police, what's the address of your emergency?
They just shot some people around here, over here on 70th Street and 8th Avenue.
Northwest 70th Street and 8th Avenue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know how many people were
I
shot?
don't know, like 2 or 3 boys.
Okay, are you able to give me a description?
I can't tell you, ma'am. All these kids was out here.
This homicide occurred on May 4th, 2011, which is on a Wednesday, at approximately 8:15 p.m. The victim, name is Donald Jones, was hanging out in front of the apartment building along with a friend at 6890 Northwest 8th Avenue in Miami. And they would normally just hang out in front of the building, you know, just chit-chat, hang out, do whatever, you know, guys do sometime, listen to the radio. The offender came from the north side of the building, which is actually on 70th Street. He came up from the west, he approached 8th Avenue, and once he got 8th Avenue, he walked towards the front of the apartment building, which also faces eastbound. Apparently, the information was that Donald was sitting on the stairs, made eye contact with the offender. The offender was able to get close enough to the victims and begin shooting, open fire. At that time, Donald attempted to flee up the stairs with the offender in pursuit. Apparently, it looked like Donald was shot as he was running southbound once he got to the top of the stairs, and then shot again once he came back down. He was taken to vital trauma right after the incident. He later died on May 14th due to his injuries.
I had actually just talked to him maybe an hour before it all happened. And by the time I got home from the park, I got a phone call saying that he had been shot.
I said, what happened? And she was like, Donald just got shot. And then my mama just dropped everything and ran. And on the way there, she was like, I hope my baby okay, I hope my baby okay. And I didn't even know like how bad it was, and I just started crying and crying. I couldn't stop crying.
Welcome back to Crime Stoppers Case Files. We now return to the story of the murder of Donald Jones.
On May 4th, 2011, approximately 8:15 p.m., Donald Jones was shot and killed in the area of 8th Avenue, 70th Street, where he normally visited his girlfriend. Donald was hanging out in front of the apartment building along with a friend. There was 3 or 4 people outside. Individual walked up, began shooting. As Donald attempted to flee along with a second individual who was also shot but survived. Donald was shot and killed. A crowd gathered. There was information that a heavy-set individual approached Donald with a firearm, trying to get the crowd to back up. But we don't know if this guy was a friend or he just actually wanted to see if Donald was dead. At this time, we still have not identified that individual.
Everybody just missed his spirit, the happiness, the fulfillment that he brought to everyone.
I'm gonna miss you like crazy, because you was always there, my big brother.
But I hope he find a resting place for his soul. As God give us life, the Lord give us and the Lord take us. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
I think I feel like a lot better if the guys was caught.
But just remember, you could be sitting where I am. You could lose your brother, your mother, your father, and if I know something, you will want me to speak, so I feel the same way.
Think about your life, how you'd feel about if somebody do you a kiss like that, or somebody do you like that. How you suffering and the pain and agony.
At this time, the only information we have is that the shooter was a black male wearing dark clothing and fled in a vehicle, possibly a van.
Welcome back to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. I'm Dick Masten. It's been proven that programs such as ours solve crimes after several airings of a case. With that in mind, we'd like to quickly review a few cases that we've featured on past episodes. On December 9th, 2006, 27-year-old Starsky Garcia was brutally murdered while leaving his family member's apartment in North Miami Beach.
On December 9th, 2006, at approximately 4:30 a.m., the body of Starsky Garcia was found laying on the ground next to parked vehicles with a pool of blood around him. The incident took place at the Arbors apartment complex, which is located at 2365 Northeast 173th Street in North Miami Beach, Florida. The apartment complex itself is about 3 different types of units. Starsky Garcia was located right in the center of those 2 apartment complexes. Starsky Garcia apparently was living in Rhode Island prior to this incident. A week prior to his murder, he had returned back to the area of North Miami Beach. When he came back to start his life over again. He had gone to a job interview. He was actually got the job on the day that he was killed. So he was ready to start his life all over again here in South Florida. During the investigation, we learned that while Starsky was in his family's apartment watching a movie, a witness had returned home from work, and as she was in the parking lot, she was looking for a parking space. She parked her vehicle and she exited her vehicle and started walking to the apartment complex where she was staying. As she did so, she noticed a black male who she described as early 20s, wearing a red baseball cap, crouched between 2 parked vehicles. And as she proceeded to walk towards those 2 vehicles, that individual stood up all of a sudden, which startled her, and she continued to walk towards the apartment complex. She never looked back, she just continued to walk. And during that time, we believe that as she was walking towards her apartment complex, Starsky left the apartment and started walking towards his car. He had to return home because his mother needed the car because the car belonged to his mom. So he went ahead and decided he was just going to leave, and he did. He walked out of the apartment complex. As far as we know, everything was fine from the time he walked out up until the time he walked towards his car or his mother's car, at which point an unknown person or persons approached and shot him once. It was a fatal shot, and he expired on the scene. Perhaps if somebody remembers that night and remember hearing something, they'd come forward and help us bring this person to justice and bring some closure to the family.
In the murder of Starsky Garcia, police are looking for a black male wearing a red baseball cap who was last seen at the apartment complex at 2365 Northeast 173rd Street in North Miami Beach. At 4:27 in the morning of April the 2nd, 2010, Anthony Brown and a friend were walking home near Northwest 18th Avenue and 54th Street when they were ambushed by gunmen.
On April 2nd, 2010, at somewhere around 4:27 in the morning, Anthony Brown and his friend were walking home from a club when they were ambushed by unknown persons and gunned down. We came to learn that a couple hours before, they were at a local club called the Boulevard Cafe in the area of Northwest 25th Avenue and 36th Street. They were there for a few hours, and sometime around 3:30, Anthony Brown's friend gets into a fight. So he gets kicked out, along with the other guys he's fighting with. Anthony Brown finds out, so he comes outside and he's pretty much ready to leave anyways. So they went down some side streets, trying to make their way towards 54th Street. At some point around 42nd, 43rd Street, as they're walking, they get shot at by some unknown vehicle. They ran behind a building and the car kept on going. They didn't call anybody, they just kept on walking. When they made it to 54th Street, they passed by a small store, got some drinks. The manager at the store remembers seeing them, and they kept on going. And as they're approaching the building on 18th Avenue, the building has a black gate that surrounds it. So you could see through it, but it was very dark. So unless you're paying attention, you might not see anything. So as our victims were walking on the sidewalk, getting to the edge of that gate, our offenders just jumped out and started shooting at them. Our victims just went down right there. The offenders ran off, either running away from the area on foot or jumping into a vehicle. We just don't know. Both victims were taken to rider trauma, but unfortunately Anthony Brown died as a result of being shot. And his friend was taken right into surgery, but he's still recovering as a result of being shot.
If it was you in that situation and it hit home, you would feel the same way I feel. I'm outliving my kids. I'd rather see that person sit in jail for the rest of their life knowing that they took my child's life and ain't no telling how many more kids they done killed behind that.
Right now, we have no witnesses that saw the event. Everybody in the area was sleeping. We know that 2 guns were involved, a 9mm and a .45 caliber. That would lead us to believe that 2 people may be involved, but we don't know if they're male, female, old or young. We're hoping anybody with information will call us.
I just pray that somebody have a heart to call and tell them something. It would mean the world to me, and it would close a little piece of my heart.
Crime Stoppers of Miami-Dade has one goal: to make the streets safer for law-abiding citizens by solving cases and capturing criminals. Now, I'm Dick Masten. Be sure to join us next week for another episode of Crime Stoppers Case Files.